All right, let's look at circumference, okay? So the circumference of a circle, right, is the same as our perimeter. Remember where we had perimeter before? Switch back to black here, right? And we had perimeter. Doesn't like to write on here. Looks better than my finger, but it skips periodically. So remember we saw that meter, and we thought about that guy, right? And he is maybe running, doesn't want to show up right there, right? And he's running, right? And he's running around, right? He's running around, and we added all the sides. So if this was 3 and 4, we had 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4. Okay, and that's how we found perimeter. Okay, well, circumference is just the perimeter of a circle. Okay, but this time we can't just add the sides because we don't have any sides to add. Okay, now that guy, he is still running around the outside, right? Still running, okay, but we need a little bit different formula this time to find perimeter. Okay, so circumference, which is our perimeter, is going to be equal to 2 times pi times the radius, okay? It could also be written as the radius times the diameter, okay? And that's because, remember, 2 times the radius equals the diameter. So if you see this right here, you have the radius and you have the number 2, and all these are multiplied. So you have 2 and r equals d. So that's why you can have d right there. Okay, so if they give you the diameter, you can just multiply it by pi, or you can change it to radius. And a lot of my students, they like just to work with 1, so they tend to work with just this one right there. Okay, so they tend just to use circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius. Okay, so that's fine. If you want to use the pi times the diameter, that is also perfectly acceptable. I'll mostly just be using this today, okay, but I wanted to put that out there for you. Okay, so remembering, if we have a circle, that radius starts at a middle point and goes over to the edge. Okay, so if our radius today is, say, 3, let's call it inches today, okay, then my circumference, which, remember, circumference is that perimeter we're running around the outside, is equal to 2 times pi times the radius. Okay, so that is 2, and we're going to use 3.14 today. 3 times 3.14 times, what's my radius? 3 inches. Okay, all right, so let's throw that into our calculator. All right, and once again, I don't have our calculators here from school, so we're going to use this one. Oh, and it will switch. I did at least change that to auto. So here we have 2, auto rotate, times 3.14 times 3, right? I believe that was our radius. And that is going to give me 18.84. All right, so 2 times 3.14 gives me 18. Oh, I've already forgotten. What did it say it was? 0.84. 0.84. And this is going to be inches. Okay, those two little hashtags, mark things, those mean inches, right? Not inches squared, just plain old inches, because he's just running around the outside. All right, let's take a look at another one. Let's change the color up a bit on it just for fun. Okay, so if I have this lovely circle here, and let's say they give me the diameter, okay, and let's say they say the diameter is 12 millimeters, okay? This is a pretty small circle, all right? 12 millimeters, all right? So how do I find that circumference, and what is the circumference again? Now remember, the circumference is we're running around the outside. We're finding the outside dimension, okay? So that's basically, if we took this apart and we cut it and we laid it flat, okay, this came apart and it started here and we rolled it out, okay? What would the distance be from here to here, okay? How much do we have around here? Okay, then remembering circumference equals 2 pi r. Okay, if you're using pi times diameter in this case, that's perfectly acceptable. I'm going to go ahead and work through this though. Now remember, they didn't give us the radius in this case, okay? So we can find radius by taking that diameter, right, and dividing it by 2. So that equals 12 divided by 2, which gives me 6 millimeters, okay? So my radius is equal to 6 millimeters, okay? Now once again, you can solve this by circumference equals pi times diameter. If you're doing that, good for you. And I'm going to continue to work this one right here, okay? So circumference equals 2 pi r. We decided r equals 6 millimeters. Let's just put that into our formula. 2 times 3.14 times 6. Okay, flip over to our calculator and clear this out. 2 times 3.14 times 6 gives me 37.68. So my answer is 37.68 millimeters. Sometimes this doesn't like to draw. So 37.68 millimeters.